let's talk about the kind of final Indiana Jones novel to be published, Indiana Jones and the Army of the Dead, written by Steve Perry, who is obviously a familiar name if you're familiar with his Star Wars works, Shadows of the Empire for example, or his collaborations with Michael Reeves. And I like Steve Perry. This book was kind of made infamous to me because this killed any chance of more Indiana Jones novels. But did it really? In my opinion, well, I would say there are numerous factors why there weren't any more indie novels. And I don't think this book being terrible is the reason, because it isn't really. It's not great, it's not the best Indiana Jones novel, but it is fine. I would say it's fine, mediocre, it tries something different, and doesn't necessarily succeed completely for me, but it is decent. So let's talk about it. This book was supposed to be a tie-in to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because it features Mac. You know, George Mac McHale, everyone's favorite character from Crystal Skull. He's the guy who constantly betrays Indy, but then he's secretly on his side, but no, not really. He's a double, triple agent or whatever. If you dislike that character, don't worry, he doesn't play much of a role at all, even though he's technically one of the main characters. So the story goes as follows. Indy and Mac are working together for the government. Indy is OSS and Mac is MI6. And they are essentially just taking a break from their work, and they go to Haiti because they are looking for the Heart of Darkness, which is this black pearl thing that is said to have magical powers. And indeed, it does, and both a German party, a Japanese party, independently from one another, go looking after it, but there is also a voodoo priest living on the Island of the Dead, where the Black Pearl is hidden, and he also wants it now, to create an army of the dead. He can already control zombies and the undead, but he wants to extend his powers. So Indy and Mac on the island are teaming up with a voodoo priestess who's related to the bad guy priest. They look for the Black Pearl, they fight zombies, and there is stuff happening with the Germans and the Japanese, which are separate plot lines. That's the thing that people criticize about this book, I think, why it wasn't that popular. Indy isn't in it that much, because Perry wastes a lot of time with the bad guys. Wasting is kind of a harsh term, because I kind of appreciate it. After reading all of the other Indiana Jones books, the villains aren't necessarily bad in them, but they don't get much spotlight. So Perry tried something different here, exploring the bad guys. There are essentially 3 separate bad guy factions going after this artifact. So I kind of appreciate this different take. If it works for you, I mean, that's a personal thing if you enjoy that or not. But as a one-off experiment to do something different, I like it, I'm fine with it. I think both the German main guy and the Japanese main guy are interesting enough characters, as is the villain, the voodoo priest, which is bizarre and fun. And I think Indy as a character is also fine. I'm a little bit annoyed by Perry constantly talking about Indy and his lucky hat and how he got it, and how he hates snakes, because Indy's hat and he hates snakes. It comes up a bit too much. The other problem I have, Mac as a character. We get a little bit backstory of him, I guess, but he's just kind of there and along for the ride. He doesn't contribute much, and he doesn't really stand out as a character. It's just it's randomly a friend of Indy. But I guess that fits. Bad character in the movie Crystal Skull, bad character in this novel. So would I recommend Steve Perry's Indiana Jones and the Army of the Dead? I guess so. I don't think it's as bad as its reputation. I think it's a decently fun adventure that's easy to read because it's Steve Perry. The man can write simple, fun adventure stuff. I do think it's a shame that this was the end of the indie novels. Kind of. Because there was supposed to be another book, Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings by Rob McGregor, the original indie author, coming back writing a novelization for the video game of the same name. And sadly it was cancelled, because no one is buying or reading Indiana Jones novels except me. But thankfully, 2023 it was released online as a PDF, so everyone can read it. As did I. So we're gonna talk about that book next time.